Call the meeting to order. Okay, we'll take a roll. Bid Norris, I'm here. Jackie Cooper.
Here.
Richard Davila.
Here.
Dr. James Fowler. Gary Hahn.
Here.
T.J. McDowell. Jesse Rangel. Here. Teacher Stewart.
Here.
Amy Trope. Certify that we do have a quorum. Okay, we'll move to item C, the approval of the minutes from the meeting of January 10th, 2018. Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right, we'll move to item number D, letter D. Public comment. We have one public comment from Mr. Scott Pospisil. Go right ahead, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Scott Pospisil, and I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Hearing Aid Association here in Austin. We have filed public comments on this proceeding previously, and I believe all of you have those, and I hope you've had an opportunity to read them. Basically, our issues with the proposed rules deal with subchapter F of the temporary permit, the temporary training permit. Basically, we have two problems with that. One, that it's open-ended. It never allows for stoppage of the temporary permit process, and would allow a temporary permit holder to basically, if he wanted to, never take the examination, the written or the practical, never have to complete the 150 hours of training, basically never have to do anything under the temporary permit and receive an additional permit ad infinitum. And there should be some sort of action there where that should be stopped. The other reason that we do not support this language is there's really nothing in there then that allows the department or gives the department the ability to stop such an action. If you have that going on, you should at least be able to step in and stop that. We feel like the proposal that we have presented to you in our comments to provide for a second permit is a reasonable solution to this issue that we've wrestled with for many, many years. It allows basically 4 years for someone to complete the 150 hours of training and take and pass the written and practical exam. That's more than enough time, adequate time to pursue that, to complete that training process and become an apprentice permit holder. So we do feel like that's a necessary component to these rules that's missing. But we do agree that a second permit is needed. There are people who legitimately need a second permit for reasons that are totally legitimate. Most of them have to do with health concerns, which they are required to stop their initial training and pursue a permit later on in their life. So we've made two recommendations to you. Hopefully you will agree to at least one of those. One is to sever the package as far as subchapter F is concerned, is to sever the proposed rules that you have before you and take those and set them aside, and then add to it the provision in section 11252 to limit the permits to 2, and take that package and go forward in a new rulemaking, or allow this rulemaking to go forward as it is and be finalized, and to once it is finalized, begin a new rulemaking proceeding as soon as possible thereafter to establish the 2 permit provision in 11252. We don't really care which one of those that you do. The net effect of either one of those is the same, but we do give you both of those recommendations as a possibility. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move to item E, staff reports. Looks like we'll start with licensing division.
Okay. Chairman, I don't see anyone here from licensing. We do have their report, and that may be from the delay of everything this morning. But we do have their report of new licenses issued, renewed, online renewals, and the total population. And I'm reading just like everyone else. Apprentice, I'm going to read the word correctly, permit, and temporary training permits and so forth. So we have the numbers, and if there are any questions, I can forward them to licensing, and we can get a response for you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
No.
Everybody have time to review it? Okay. All right, we'll move to enforcement division.
Good morning, board members. My name is Karen Cox. I'm a prosecutor in the enforcement section, and I have a very short report to present to you today. We opened 8 cases through November of fiscal year 2018 in this program, resolved 19 of them. We have no agreed orders, assessed no penalties, and collected no penalties. May I answer any questions?
Richard Davila, how many open cases remain?
Well, I don't actually know that number.
Okay.
Not very many, but
Well, I
I
thought
don't
with
know.
8 opened and 19 closed, it's got to be,
there may have been some cases held over.
Oh,
So
sure.
this is, just shows the number of cases opened in the fiscal year since 2018. There are probably still some 2017 cases
but not many.
still open. I wouldn't expect that. I can get the number to you before the end of the meeting if you want, but,
Yes, please. I would.
all right, thank you.
Any other question?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, board members.
Okay, we'll move to regulatory program management division.
Oh,
Did I skip one?
Education.
Oh, well, let's move to education. I'm sorry, Fran.
Good morning.
good morning.
I'm Fanny Pringle with the Education Examination Division. I believe you have our report in front of you. We have 2 new employees, Jennifer Prince and Angela Schmidt. And I'd like to add to that, we also have another 2 employees that transferred into our division from other program in the agency. Michael Strawn and John Schildwater have come to our division from compliance. We also have statistics and trends for practical examination and jurisprudence exams and continuing education. I'd also like to add that Rebecca Armis and myself will be in attendance of the THAA 71st Annual Convention and Southwest Regional Trade Show this coming June 15th and 16th in Dallas. E&E would also like to take this time to recognize the Executive Director of THAA, Mr. Scott Pospisil, for his efforts in recruiting practical exam raters to grade the practical exam for us. The practical exam is administered 3 times a year, January, May, and September usually, in Dallas, Houston, Austin, and Midland by a group of about 16 raters who we've really come to rely on. They've gone the extra mile for us since they've been with our agency. They come to all the exams, they stay all day, work all day, and they don't even get a lunch break because of our numbers. But thanks to Scott, we have an additional 21 raters who had been raters in years past that he's got them to recommit to returning as raters this year. And he's also signed up another 20 first-time individuals who will be doing rating for us this year as well. So he has more than tripled our rater pool, which means not only will our raters get lunch breaks, but more importantly, we won't have to turn down any testers. Right now, they're having to scramble for the limited number of test slots that we have, and we'll have enough graders to ensure everyone who wants to test can test, and that we can even consider adding additional dates and locations as needed. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
that. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry to skip you. All right, now we'll move to Regulatory Program Management Division.
Good morning. I'm Katie Bryce with Regulatory Program Management. You all have a copy of my report, but I'd like to just point out a few things we've been doing. The Regulatory Program Management staff attended training on the customer service software system, so we were able to help answer emails to eliminate any backlog there might be to allow faster response time. We are going to be reviewing the hearing instrument footer and dispenser website pages in the next couple of months, which should reformat them to make it more user-friendly. If you want to see some examples, already the speech-language pathology and audiology website has been updated. The massage therapy website's been updated, and also athletic trainers. So if you want to just go look at those sites, you can see what it might look like. We will be attending the Texas Hearing Aid Association conference in Dallas also. We're looking forward to that, and we hope our licensees will come by if they have any questions or feedback or just to say hi. The medical and health professions section remains focused on maintaining successful operation of the Phase 1 programs from DSHS, and we're also working on the Phase 2 programs. Something we've started is a quarterly newsletter called the Health Monitor, and you can find a link to this off the website. It's just a newsletter where we're highlighting different aspects of our programs every quarter. And also every month we've been providing a training to customer service and licensing and anyone else who likes to come. That's called A Closer Look, where we highlight 1 or 2 programs each month and go over licensing requirements and other things like that in them. So, any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move to Customer Service Division.
Good morning, board members. My name is Tuan Nguyen. I'm the customer service manager over hearing instrument fitters and dispensers. As you can see from our last meeting, our stats has went up slightly for February, mainly due to a little bit higher call volume. And we are still tracking any pending issues with applications or customers needing assistance, especially the recurring emails or phone calls. And also, we are using our tracking system to see if we get any escalated or recurring issues from multiple customers, and that way we can see if there's a consistency in some of the issues. That way we can find a better way to approach it. But other than that, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Jackie, I know you just said you're starting to, have you guys identified any of the pinch points where you do get multiple
There's
calls?
certain thing, and one of the solutions we are doing is a little bit from Katie's report that we are revising the website to make the requirements a lot more transparent.
So people are
and-
calling for clarification on what they're seeing, it's not clear?
Yes, and especially when they are applying online, we're just gonna look at it again and try to make sure everything is now TDLR and making sure all the requirements are there, and that way it's like, oh, that's exactly what you need to send in. And also we have reps that are working with customers closely where it's like, okay, if this is exactly what you need, I noticed you called us 3-4 times, they're gonna be the point person for that one customer to make sure they get everything they need, and then we'll communicate with licensing to make sure we get that application processed.
Brilliant. Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, we'll move to executive office. Report.
Mr. Chairman, board members, Nick Boenis, TDLR Chief of Staff, and thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service to the state. Here to bring you our executive office report, summary of what's happening around the agency. First off, I wanted to mention Karen's gotten an answer for you on the pending cases. There are 2 pending cases.
Oh, good, she was right, not many, huh? Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. We received some new, some good news here recently when Governor Abbott announced appointment of 2 new commissioners to our board for terms that expire or that will expire in 2023. Our board is back at full strength. He added Ray Callis, who's a physician anesthesiologist from Beaumont, and Gary Wesson, who's a retired orthodontist living in Bastrop, to our 7-member commission. And if you'd like to read any additional biographical information, has been posted on our website, tdlr.texas.gov. The next commission meeting is next Tuesday, March 27th. TDLR staff is continuing to implement legislation that was passed over the last 2 regular sessions of the Texas legislature. A majority of the work has been completed, but this is a process that will continue as we implement programs this year and next. We've also begun working on a strategic planning exercise, and that's something that the legislature mandates every state agency do every 2 years, and it's something that we take very seriously. 2 years ago, we identified 58 strategic initiatives to address during last year's legislative session, and our success rate was pretty good. 56 of them were passed and signed into law. Want to stress that everyone has a voice in this process, from licensees to consumers, advisory board members, industry reps, and so on, and everyone is encouraged to participate. We will host sessions in Arlington and El Paso on Monday, April 9th. The following Monday, April 16th, will be in Houston and McAllen, and then we'll follow that up with a session here in Austin on Monday, April 23rd. And for those unable to make it in person, we will post survey questions on our Facebook pages and our website so everyone can participate that way. These sessions are an opportunity for everyone to share ideas and opinions on how we're doing and how we can improve to better serve you. We will also conduct some internal sessions for our staffs throughout the months of March and April. Also like to share some recent web traffic numbers with you, as I always do, to try to help promote our site as much as we can. Your numbers are really pretty good over the last 6 months. The Hearing Instrument Fitters and Dispensers website had 12,219 page views, and that's an average of 72 per day, and that does not count online licensing. 73% of those visitors came to the site from a desktop computer, while 23% did so from a smartphone and 4% from a tablet. The top reasons for visiting the site: number 1, laws and rules, followed by exam information, forms, frequently asked questions, and a list of CE providers. Also want to thank Stephen Mills and Katie and the rest of the folks in the health group for their work, and Jeff Kopus of my staff. The new health newsletter has been really well received. It's a really nice read. These folks put a lot of time and effort into presenting this information for you, and we're real proud of that. Also wanted to remind you, Facebook, Twitter, if you want to keep up with our news and activities, you may do so that way. And our list of subscribers for our various email blasts has risen to a little over 4,000 now. So if someone is not receiving those notices and would like to, they can subscribe by going to tdlr.texas.gov. Finally, I wanted to compliment our entire staff, who are known for their generosity, and this was confirmed again last month at the State Employee Charitable Campaign Awards ceremony, where TDLR was awarded the highest per capita gift for an agency of 301 to 500 employees. And what that means is that our staff contributed more per person to the 2017 campaign than any other agency in our size group, and that was more than $34,000. We're proud of that as well. So thank you, and be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you very much. Since we're complimenting people, I'd like to thank Christina once again for calling me this morning about the traffic on I-35. I'm still late, but saved me there. Thank you. Okay, let's move to item F, discussion and possible action regarding proposed rules under 16 Texas Administrative Code. We have Wendy. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Wendy Pello, Assistant General Counsel. This is agenda item F on today's agenda, on today's meeting. It's the rule set that's amending and repealing several sections within Chapter 112, and those specific rule sites are in your agenda. It's a rather lengthy list, but these were the proposed rules that were implementing House Bill 4007, House Bill 1543, and then making other cleanup changes. Just as a little refresher, at our last meeting on January 10th, the advisory board had discussed the draft proposed rules. We had walked through those. The advisory board had not, didn't make any recommended changes, but we had an extensive discussion about the statutory changes that were made to Occupations Code Section 402.251B, and then the temporary training permit requirements about having what we need to do about subsequent training permits, and then the corresponding rules at 112.50. The advisory board had a good discussion about reasons why temporary training permit holders may need to obtain a subsequent permit, and it was a good discussion. It was sent to, recommended that when the rules would be proposed in the Texas Register, there would also be, y'all recommended that a work group also be appointed to kind of further those discussions and get more in depth in the issues. After we did that, we went back and we published the proposed rules in the Texas Register, and they were published on February 9th, 2018, for a 30-day public comment period that closed March 12th. And the department received 2 public comments during that comment period. I believe the advisory board team has sent you both of those comments. One was from the Texas Speech and Language Hearing Association, and the other was from the Texas Hearing Aid Association. Just going through that, just want to briefly go through their comments and kind of the department's response and recommendation, also get the advisory board's response and recommendation, have any comments on those comment letters. The first comment was from the Texas Speech Language Hearing Association. They had commented in support of the proposed rules. They hadn't recommended any changes. So the department appreciates the comment and appreciates the support, but we didn't make any changes based on those public comments. But I'll obviously open that up to advisory board if you had any comments or on that comment. Okay. The second comment letter, I believe we heard from Mr. Pasosola in terms of during the public comment on the Texas Hearing Aid Association's comment. They had some concerns and did not support the proposed changes to 112.50, 112.52, and 112.53. As you heard during public comments, some of the reasons was the concern that there would be a perpetual permit holder, that there wouldn't be a limit to someone obtaining second, third temporary training permits. Going forward, they had recommended that they had stated that they supported amending the rules to allow for a subsequent second permit to help those that may need it, and they had proposed some specific language under 112.52. They had recommended, as you heard, either remove and sever or withdraw those three rules under .50, .52, and .53, or in the alternative, keeping the rule set as is going forward, but then having a subsequent rulemaking. And they were suggesting the rule change to be 112.52. On this, you recall there's, during the last meeting as well, during the work group, during the advisory board, we had a discussion with the advisory board of those issues. We had also discussed at the time the one suggested that we had, which was the position paper from THAA from November 2017 about the 6-month waiting period, and you had that part of your discussion. So we do appreciate getting this comment, this public comment, and the suggested change with the potential new language for how to address the proposed rules on the temporary training permit. I don't want to steal our work group's thunder because we will have an update on the next agenda item, but we have met. But in response to that public comment, the department would recommend withdrawing those three rules, the 112.50, the .52, and .53 from this proposal. We'd let the work group finish its work, finish what kind of rule language it would like, where's the appropriate rules section to put it in, because like at our last meeting, we were talking about 112.50. This proposal's proposing to amend 112.52, so we consider removing those three rules, let the work group come up with a recommendation, and determine what the rules would be and then where the appropriate would be, and then we'd come back with a rule package that was just about temporary training permits that would address both the work group recommendations. It'd also have the House Bill 4007 changes and then the cleanup changes that were part of this rule. So that would be the department's recommendation, but we definitely open up and want the advisory board's discussion and of the comment letter and your recommendations as well.
Okay. Is there any questions? Well, I would entertain a motion to take TDLR's recommendation that we take out the proposed rules at subchapter F. Is that correct?
That's it. Correct.
Take that out of the proposed rules for today, and then make a motion, or entertain a motion. Somebody has to make the motion, but make the motion to approve the rest of the rule proposal.
Right. Basically, you'd be making a recommendation to the commission that the commission adopt the proposed rules as published, with the exception of those three rules under subchapter F, the .50, .52, and .53, which
So
would
I'll
be
make that
gone.
motion
I'll
to,
second.
do I need to read it out, or?
Does he need to repeat the whole thing?
No.
No.
Okay.
I think we
got
on the
accept
record.
that motion.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And just so you know, that as you heard from our executive report, the next commission meeting is this coming Tuesday on March 27th, and these rules will be on the agenda for the commission's consideration. So we will, as part of that, they will receive the public comments and the advisory board's recommendation and the department's recommendation for what to do with these rules. So that's your next steps.
Okay, so now we move to item G, update from work groups and possible recommendation. The work group that met was a licensing work group, actually on this very issue, so.
Okay, Richard Davila. I will provide the update for our teleconference call earlier this month regarding stakeholder concerns, advisory board concerns regarding the temporary training permit issuing multiple permits. And we had a fruitful discussion. We discussed possible issues that could arise, and a few solutions. TDLR staff recommended researching other states' licensing acts and rules, looking for, possible proposed language for change. We wanted to explore these concerns that were brought up further, meet again, and then hopefully have something to present at our next advisory board meeting. And that's it.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much. All right, we'll move to item H, recommendations for agenda items for next board meeting.
Mr. Chairman, before we move forward, our licensing representative has made it in, and so he ran in apologizing for not being here, but it's been just kind of that kind of morning today. Thank goodness we all made it, period. If you had any questions, because my reading his report was very high level or low level.
You did very well.
Well, thank you. But Leonard is here. If you had any questions, he can step up to the table and answer those for you.
Is there any questions? We can save them the trip if there's no questions. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay, where were we? All right, recommendations for agenda items for next meeting. None? Okay. Go to item H, discussion, or excuse me, item I, discussion of date, time, and location of next board meeting.
Actually, this is Wendy Pello. This will tie in together. Under item, is it G, items for, or H for next meeting, we would like to bring back, have the licensing work group meet and have those proposals go through our review process and bring those to the advisory board at your next meeting. And then as it relates to item I and the date and time, we were looking maybe like in May 30th, May 31st. We'd like to come back maybe late May, if that works with folks' schedules. So
May 30th is Richard Davila. May 30th is a Wednesday. It's a good day for me.
I'm available.
I'm good with that. Good also.
I am too.
May 30th
Then May 30th looks good.
at 10 o'clock.
Looks good.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right, meeting adjourned.